No, be able to be so well prepared and so well studied that you not only know that it's full of shit, but you can exactly point out because there might be somebody on one of these spaces that is on the fence, that is like the needle could be moved either way. And they're just waiting for somebody to finally, tell the one spaces bully or whatever, no, you're full of shit and here's why. And it might even, like, especially with COVID just having happened, like, it literally might save somebody's life if you're able to discredit and show factual information that, you know, discredits or disproves even um, incorrect or potentially harmful information that is being put out by the people that are actively trying to wage war on us. And while I'm thinking about it, I don't know if she's still here, but Shaka, like something that she said about the border and about the people coming over are being described as white, and white people should be offended by that because you know, any crime that they commit is attributed to white people, so it makes white people look bad, and that the same logic applies to any race. And I agree. And the problem that we have is the whole white supremacy thing, or the whole white privilege thing. I'm comfortable enough with my own personal experience of 39 years on on this earth, but also with everything that I've seen over the last 2 years, in that the white privilege thing is almost exclusively ascribed to a group of people within the quote unquote white race that wants to be white when it's convenient for them. And by convenient, I mean make white people look evil. Look how evil we are. Look at all the privilege we have. But then when it's not convenient, or when it's convenient to be a minority, they're not white. And I think you guys all know who we're talking about. Spoiler alert, I'm talking about Jewish people. And I'm not talking about all Jewish people, but I'm talking about the people that are actively in belief that they are better than every one of us. They actively want to ethnically cleanse Palestinians. They actively want to engage in psychological operations on the American people, but also people all over the world. And is it all fake and gay? The reason for the title of the space is because we've been subjected to this construct in that, you know, men can get pregnant. COVID didn't come from a lab, even though they were studying it in a lab, and it just so happened to show up a year before an election conveniently, and that just so happened to give them the ability to justify mail in ballots, and that just so happened to justify summer love rights where everybody's wearing masks so you can't see, who people are without raising suspicion. Like, I lived in Chicago, in downtown Chicago, at the start of this thing. I picked the worst time in the history of moving to Chicago to move to Chicago in November of 19. All right. I had taken a promotion. Really, a competitor offered me a job to, a step up and the opportunity to work in downtown Chicago. And I was living in Chattanooga at the time. I'd always wanted to live and work and have an opportunity to build in a major metro market. And this company was giving me that opportunity. So I get there in November 19th of 2019. COVID shows up like a week later, literally. And then I catch COVID at my birthday party, which was at a karaoke downtown, like, speakeasy style. It was a pretty dope spot, but we were all boxed into this one room. We invited like 20 people and like 60 showed up. And so I got it. My business partner got it. Like all of our friends got it. And it was like a weird flu slash pneumonia kind of thing. And it knocked me on my ass for 3 or 4 days. And then I was fine. Uh, but everything that happened since that day has been a construct. And my background's biomedical science. All right. I've been in finance for 13 years. I did my undergrad in biology, went to pharmacy school, and decided after pharmacy school that I wasn't going to stand in a retail pharmacy. So I went into finance. And that has positioned me uniquely to be able to detect bullshit. And the only reason I ever developed a Twitter account to begin with was because I saw public health officials with hundreds of thousands of followers, like many of the people that are in this space, lament. They don't pay attention to us. They're full of shit. They're surface level. They're not putting out all the facts, or they're putting out shit that's wrong. Well, the only reason I opened up a Twitter is because a guy by the name of Christian Anderson at the Scripps Research Institute in La Jolla, California, was coming out saying things that I'm like, this is virology 101. Like, he's factually incorrect. And he's got 300,000 followers. He's going to hurt people with this shit. And then I saw it with Peter Hote. And then I saw with this person. And then I saw them start to deny the existence of natural immunity. And then I saw them come out with the uh, if you're protesting, George Floyd or racial injustice, then COVID doesn't spread and it's fine. But if you're a white guy and you're going to a college football game on Saturday or an NFL game on Sunday, you're literally killing grandma. How dare you? You are just such a terrible person. We should extricate you from society. That's when I realized that we are under attack. And everything since then, like the summer love riots, literally started a block and a half from my apartment. The first the first building was hit with the cinder block was four buildings down from where I lived. They threw Molotov cocktails in the dumpsters behind our building and a cinder block through the front window of our complex. Like, I saw it firsthand, and I'll never the image is burned into my brain forever. And it in retrospect, it's even more sinister now that you realize you're literally experiencing a color revolution on your own soil. And why was it so successful? How did we allow it to get this far? Well, because most of us, and myself especially, never bothered to just like stick our noses in and say, hey, you know, I don't agree with this. Like, and maybe I should vote, or maybe I should get involved at the local level. Like, I wanted nothing to do with politics. I wanted nothing to do with the government. I just wanted to be left alone. And then, after about 2 years of all that bullshit, I realized that there's nobody else coming to save us. And all these, you know, ideologies or feelings about certain issues that they're ascribing to me aren't at all like what I think. I'll be fully honest with everybody here. I grew up in North Alabama, was raised public school, went to school with white people, black people, Hispanic people, and Chinese people. We didn't think about race. It was never a thing in my entire life. Racism, like, contrary to what people have been told, except in certain pockets, maybe in like Mississippi, but like Alabama is less racist than New York City. I'm here to tell you. Alabama is less racist than most places in the United States, especially most of the ones above the Mason Dixon line. And Chicago is in the summertime. And, you know, even though I had the worst experience of like the timeline to live there, Chicago people are some of the most hospitable, like, warm and caring people that you'll ever come across. And the only people that I ever had a problem with were fucking operatives and were fucking activists. And it only ever got this far because we were asleep at the wheel. And we weren't looking for, hey, we might be under Bolshevik Revolution too. But that's not the case anymore. And so now the onus is on us to study, to flood the zone with correct information and gather data and collect data as carefully as you collect food, water, ammo. And what I mean by that is somebody at the beginning of the space had mentioned, like, if shit goes down, they're going to cut off, internet, they're going to cut off access to this and that. When I say like become resilient and resourceful, know where your bad guy or where your enemy lives as a deterrent, because they collect data on us to make us fearful and to design weapons that can be wielded against us as levers of control. That goes both ways, folks, because you peel back all the layers of insulation of Big Brother government. These are still people. These are still people that have fears and concerns and have families and have, you know, things that keep them up at night. And if you think for a second that they're any less mortal than we are, you're out of your mind. And we outnumber them 10,000 to 1. We have no excuse not to push back with extreme prejudice, because more so than at any time in my entire life, this is the existential fight for not only America, but for the world at large, because America is the world's last castle, being as we have the First and Second Amendments. And so when you see me wake up in the morning, in fact, and choose so called informational violence, it's because once you understand what the overarching agenda is, it's just a matter of filling in everything under the umbrella with the names of the players and the entities. But the overarching agenda is the complete um, takeover and the subjugation of the people on behalf of the few global elites. And those global elites are overwhelmingly people who call themselves Jews by a factor of 95% or better, or the people that work directly for Jews. And so that's been the toughest part in all this. Like, as being as somebody who's never, you know, grown up, thinking about race, never read anything to do with like Hitler. I grew up thinking that The Diary of Anne Frank was like one of my favorite books. I was like, oh man, this is so compelling. And like, God, uh, like I'm learning that all of the things, so many of the things that I was taught in school, um, in Alabama were bullshit, and not from the standpoint of, I wasn't told, how horrible enough that I was. It was, you've been lied to by the people who won 80 years ago, and they're the people that are telling you how bad your ancestors are, as opposed to you hearing how bad they are from your own ancestors. Like, so that's that's all. It is a very important time. Um, we will win. I think that Brock, that the score is not tied. It's not even close to tied. We are winning, um, and they become more and more desperate every day, and it's existential. It's literally life and death for them, because you have a group of people that were behind the assassination of the Kennedys, that were behind knocking down the World Trade Center towers, that were behind the housing crisis in '08 and '09, that were behind the Theranos scandal, the Madoff scandal, the Enron scandal, and the people that literally created and released COVID so that they could steal two, potentially three consecutive elections. Uh, they're all the same people, and they face capital punishment several times over for crimes against humanity and for global child trafficking and for committing some of the most heinous crimes in human history. So put yourself in their shoes. If you were facing all of those, possible recourses, what links would you go to ensure you never had to worry about that? That's what we're really up against. And so, um, I I really appreciated you mentioning that Obama thing, fact, because that is literally like when I started, I thought about that video so much, because I was like, wait, that goes both ways. And, I have a quote on my, current backup account, but, I had a quote on my original account that it just came to me one day, uh, become the variable that they didn't account for, in that you know that anything that they're going to do, they're going to game plan, they're going to war game it, they're going to run it through their predictive analytics, they're going to generate, using their quantum computing and AI, a reasonable certainty of what they expect as far as pushback from the public and how much resistance they'll get, what the baseline knowledge will be, and how successful their chances are. But what if a bunch of people in the public took it on themselves to say, you know what, I'm going to be better than anything that you could possibly ever plan for. I'm going to be more well prepared. And I to be honest, like you mentioned the corona earlier, I would love to take you up on that. But I I got a DUI back in May of 2022, decided just to go cold turkey on not drinking alcohol. And I've been sober for 2 years. And it's the only, I look back in retrospect fact, and I'd always been a high level pattern recognition guy and good with numbers, but my brain has become a cheat code in the last 2 years as a result of that. And um, it's I think Brock, you mentioned providence earlier, and I gotta attest everything that has happened, the people that have been put into my life, the people that I've been fortunate to work with and learn from, and information that I've been able to come across and recall, and pieces that have been put together. It's all been providential. It's not been through anything that like I did like literally every month since you know sobriety. We're going on 25 months now. Every month has been better, like an improvement in my recall, and I truly believe I was given like a gift or a curse, depending on how you look at it, of discernment and recall and mental acuity to be prepared for the moment that we're facing right now, exactly this moment. And like I even tried going back to my finance job. The guy that originally hired me in the game 13 years ago, I'm really close with him. I consider him like a brother. And he offered me a sweet deal, and I went into the office one day, and I sat there at my desk. I didn't make a single phone call. All I did was this stuff because I couldn't think about anything else. And that's when I realized this is an obligation. This is like I'm exactly doing what I'm supposed to be doing at exactly this moment for this reason. And I think every one of us that's in this space has that same opportunity and has something within them that's calling them to be that resistance. And so, the last thing that I would say is I would encourage every one of you to look in yourself, realize that the moment that we're facing is existential for not only our country, but for our kids and our grandkids. Our kids, our children will inherit the world that we leave to them by our actions that we make right at this moment. So understand that not only is this an inflection point that'll, you know, irrevocably shape the course of American history going forward, um, but also look at it from a standpoint of what an honor it is that we get that opportunity for such a consequential piece of American history, that we get to be the ones to stand in the doorway. So I appreciate you guys letting me jump in.
Well said, brother.
Yep, that was great. I like that backup. That was good.
Yeah.
I want to jump in here, but I'll let Brock.
Okay, well, I'm the host, so let
Yeah,
me
yeah,
jump
yeah.
in real quick. I thought what you said was great backup. Look, I think, everything is a blessing or a curse, an opportunity or a challenge, no matter how you look at it. We are going to be faced with many more challenges, and we have to take them and use them as opportunities. The key is to alchemize every situation that comes before us. Is it all fake and gay? Yes, so we have to be real and straight. Men, we have to be as strong as possible. We have to be providers financially. We have to understand that we have to see things non emotionally, right? And we have to take all of the losses, all of the hits, on the chin, right? And you spoke about being sober. Well, I've been sober too. I'm under spiritual warfare, so I gave up the drinking. I gave up the occasional weed smoking, and I've decided to just focus as much as I can and dive into my spirit and deny the flesh. And that is how you go on the path, right? The whole point of the Matrix is to take you off the path, to take you away from your true purpose. So, what you need to do is you need to go far down that road to discover who you truly can be. And when you realize that, they have no power over you. No power, right? So, the key to unlocking your whole potential is also the key to defeating the Matrix. Because once you grow and once you become enlightened, well, guess what? Other people see that in you. Other people want to be like you. What did you say? You said you unlocked your mind. Well, you can probably make a shit ton more money, get a shit ton more done, get in the best shape possible, and people see the results. And you get to say, yeah, this is what I did. And they get to say, oh, I want to be like you, right? You grow into the best version of yourself and you lead by example. I've said this before. I need to say this again. The only thing that we need to do is to end the perception that the Matrix is winning. We need people to wake up and realize that you don't have to play for Team Evil to win. People need knowledge and balls. That's it. Knowledge and balls. And you have both. And you are showing other people what it means to have both, and that you can use both to defeat the enemy. So that is what we're doing here, people. We are waking people up with knowledge, and we're giving them the balls to move forward and go against the grain. Because the grain is stay silent. The grain is let it happen. The grain is look the other way and no, fuck that. We're going to look this shit in the face and say, we not afraid. We're going to look this shit in the face and say, we taking you the fuck down. And there's nothing you can do about it. And before I go to hands, y'all got to repost this space, man. It is time to wake this shit up. We got great speakers in the building. But guess what? The reposts never match the listeners. And it's like, yo, y'all want to have a good conversation. Y'all want to have good speakers. Then click repost, share it, get good people in here, and we'll have a good conversation. We got my brother D-Sauce, very well respected in the community. We got my brother Backup as a co-host, very well respected. We got Fact Havoc as a speaker. So if y'all want this to happen, then actually do something about it. That's the whole point of being the Matrix. Y'all want something to happen? Do something. Repost the space, ladies and gentlemen. So let's keep this shit going. Go ahead, D-Sauce.
I originally raised my hand because I need to go to get some sleep, but I am so happy that I didn't because we just got another snip from Jonathan. So, um, hey, Robert, if you can snag this and clip it, I promise it would be worth your time. You're a lot better with that stuff than I am, brother, and I've seen your work. And I'm sure actually everybody here has and just doesn't realize it. you, you know? So that's it, man. I'm gonna hang out for another like 15 minutes. It'll be 2 o'clock my time, and I have to work in the morning. So probably gonna hang out for a little bit, and then I'm just gonna skate.
Hey, Brock, I actually think we have the opportunity to make it unfake and gay for the first time ever, buddy. Like that, I never thought, like, just think about that. Like, think walking outside and being like, hey, it's not fake and gay.